It's often said that politics is personal, and that's never been more apparent than right now, right here in New Hampshire.
The correspondent Karen Brown met with some straight-talking voters here in New Hampshire. Good morning, Karen.
They will definitely tell you what they think here in New Hampshire, right? So you know what? I found driving around this state, for days that, in fact, no matter where you go, what you find is that whether you're talking to the cleaning lady at your hotel or the man who owns it, voters here are extremely informed. They are passionate about being part of the process and determined to size up the candidates for themselves. And like almost nowhere else in America, they get the chance to do that.
I want you to have it, and when you read it, it'll inspire you.
In New Hampshire, politics is personal.
Thank you so much.
And I just wanted to share with you the socks they gave me.
They like kick the tires. They don't just look at the sticker, they also kick the tires.
Are you a little bruised?
It can be a bruising process.
I do have more gray hair now, don't I?
But it's also an energizing process.
My record is what it is. I'm not going to pander.
Thank you for coming out to speak to us on a personal basis like this.
Clive Russ is a voter on a mission to meet every candidate that comes to New Hampshire.
I've felt the blood in their hands.
Wow.
I've seen the color of their eyes. I've seen how they respond. If your chief banker comes to you with a bunch of his tough guys and says, we've got a message from the banksters and we want to bail out.
Tonight's target, John Huntsman.
We've got to right-size these banks before we get to that point, because the people of this country just are not going to stomach another bailout.
So you said you wanted to feel the blood in their hands, you wanted to look them in the eyes?
I did. I shook his hand and held it for a while to see what it felt like. And? It shows me that the man is a good man.
I call them visceral voters because they're led by kind of a natural instinct, and they don't let you escape their grasp until they've gotten enough from you.
And they've come here to size you up personally.
Oh, absolutely. And they strip you bare. They want to know everything.
University of New Hampshire pollster Andy Smith.
We've seen in previous elections that upwards of a quarter of all residents, all adults in the state, have been in a room, been in an event where one of the candidates was speaking.
Professor Smith found that in 2008, nearly 20% of all voters had actually shaken the hands of a candidate. Governor John Lynch.
I'm convinced it makes the candidates better presidents if they're fortunate enough to get elected.
Why?
Because they've had to engage with real people.
They ask tough questions, and when it's over, some come to your side, some say, no, I don't like you that much. It's very funny.
Oh, you're going to give me a shirt?
But if they like you, they can be very giving.
People have been giving you gifts. Funniest thing they've given you? The chocolate milk?
I was going to say the chocolate milk ranks up there pretty high, which is what I got tonight. I got calendars.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
I sometimes get maple syrup.
If anyone else has gifts, just come forward at any time.
New Hampshire, whether you like it or not, is the window through which the rest of the country gets to meet and greet and better understand the candidates. You get to ask them questions.
Is that a little bit empowering that you have the opportunity to do that?
Empowering and nerve-wracking at the same time. A little intimidating.
Melissa Hilton is at her first candidate event.
With the far-right radical agenda pointing blame on entitlement programs that support people with disabilities, what is your plan to give dignity and support to those with disabilities in the country?
I want to make sure that most of all, we have a nation that speaks to opportunity for all of our citizens.
Even without a solid answer, Hilton is often running as a true New Hampshire voter.
I just want to thank you for answering my question.
Thanks for asking it. I appreciate that.
It was actually less intimidating than I thought it would be. I was actually really nervous, and he was just like one of my neighbors.
They want to know what makes you tick.
They want to look you in the eye.
They want to look you in the eye.
Yeah.
And they want to say, this is the first handshake. We have 14 more to go. And if you can stand up to the scrutiny, you might get my vote.
And he's not joking, you guys. Mitt Romney explained it this way on the bus, that the people of New Hampshire have the largest per capita impact on who the nominee will be. So it's probably a pretty good thing that they get to meet them in person. And listen to this. They expect 250,000 people to vote next Tuesday. That's a 60% turnout rate. You compare that to a 6% turnout rate in Iowa, and that's why this race is so different.
We live in a culture where for most Americans, the way they experience politicians is through television.
Right.
But New Hampshire will always ensure that you can still, for some voters, as we just saw, reach out literally and touch them.
And it's important to them. And what I found super refreshing here is that when these folks feel like their voice actually matters, because it does, they take that responsibility very seriously, and they are very informed, and they want to meet these folks because they get their vote, right?
Yeah, exactly. Wow, that's really fascinating. Karen Brown, thank you so much for bringing that story to us and showing us a different side of the candidates, which is nice too. Right.